Mariners spring training on Root Sports is presented by Magic Toyota, right on Highway 99 in Edmonds.
We'll talk Gonzalez and tonight, but how about Mike Zunino last night? Not one, not two, but three big flies for the Mariners catcher. Part of a 4-for-4 night, 5 RBIs, and a standing ovation from the faithful down in Peoria. Heck of a night from Mike Zunino again last night. But this is tonight, under the lights again. Mariners playing the Texas Rangers in the West Division. It's Rangers-Mariners from the Peoria Sports Complex. We'll get you out there in just a few minutes. But first, inside our studio, it's Brad Adam and a man who never gave up 3 home runs in a game, Ryan Rowland-Smith.
It's not 100% true.
to the same batter, maybe.
To the same batter, yeah, I can claim that.
Let's do that.
Yes.
How about Mike Zunino after the game saying that his favorite at-bat, his 4th, the single to right center field? That tells you a little something about where he is right now.
Well, hey, if I'm hitting 3 bombs, I'm talking about the home runs. Let's go. No, but, you know, like he said, that was the at-bat. He worked the count, able to hit the ball to right center field, use all fields. That's a good sign.
And he's really just kind of picking up where he left off last season. He goes down to Tacoma in May. He comes back in June, and Mike Zunino was a totally different hitter. 251, 25 homers, 64 RBIs, all career highs, and all that damage done from June on. In fact, in Junino, that's what we call it. 304 he hit, 31 RBIs, which is a club record for catchers. Mike Zunino, since June 1st, when he came back from Tacoma, 272, 24 home runs, 60 RBIs. Whatever he figured out, Ryan, he just continued that, and he's having himself a monster spring as well.
Yeah, he really did. And you look at those numbers, that is impressive to do that from a slow start like he had and then getting sent down and to come back. He was just a different guy, and last night was so impressive. You're seeing the power all spring training. The one home run last night, now he had 3 of them, but the one that stood out to me was the home run hit to right center field. When you start seeing Mike Zunino hit the ball with authority to right center field into that gap, that's when you know he's switched on. That's when you know his timing's down. And look, you know, this is a guy you're talking, especially offensive numbers. We all know what he does behind the dish, but offensively, top 5 guy in baseball when you're talking numbers. RBIs and top 5 home runs and doubles. Look, Brad, this is my pick. First-time All-Star, 2018. Mike Zunino.
I like that. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He would deserve it after all the work he's done. Last Mariner to hit 3 home runs in a regular season game.
Well, Mike Cameron had the 4. But that's not it, is it?
That's not it.
You tell me.
Second baseman, Jose Lopez. How about that? Last one. All right, wow. We're going to go down to Peoria, and talk to Dave Sims, Mike Bly. We're still impressed with last night, the power display from Mike Zunino.
You know, last night we had a blast watching Mike Zunino do some of the things we saw him do last June when it turned out to be Junino in Seattle. He was great last night, 3 home runs.
He was terrific, and we had an opportunity to see everything that he's been working on. We saw the long home run to left center field, the home run to right center field, inside out swing on a line drive over the second baseman's head, line drive home run on a breaking ball that he went down to get. It all came together for him last night. Outside of that, he's had a terrific spring, hitting 360, 5 home runs. He's slugging over 800. So I think one of the things that you want to see is Mike had the big year last year, the big turnaround, 250 with the 25 home runs. Wanted him to build on that. I talked to him early in spring. He felt good about it. I talked to Scott Brocious about the thing that was going to be most important to Mike, and that is knowing that where his keys were for him to get back on track. And for Mike, it looks like it's all there.
Got to love that power potential consistently down at the bottom of the order. Now let's talk about the big guy, boomstick baby, Nelson Cruz. He's back tonight. Man, good to see him back, too, after the quad.
It's great to see him back. Unfortunately, so far this spring, he's only been able to get 17 at-bats. That being said, I don't worry about him. Since he's been a Mariner, he's averaged a 290 average, 40 home runs, 110 RBIs. He's going to be there again. He's been really the best DH in the league the last couple of years. So it would have been nice to get him in there earlier, but I think the main thing, he's a veteran guy. He knows what he's doing. Great to have him back in the lineup.
Absolutely. Nobody works harder than he does, and maybe he can go deep tonight like Mike Zunino did last night.
They did that 3 times. Thanks, guys. Mike will be joined by Dan Wilson, Alvin Davis later on in this broadcast. Mariners lineup, you got Gordon, Romine, and then the good Cruz, Seager, Healy, Heredia, Mater, and Amarjima, the catcher tonight, is, again, Zunino getting the night off. For the Rangers, a lot of names you're not going to recognize. Profar was their #1 guy a couple years ago. Hasn't panned out yet. You got Preston Beck. Big names. Pedro Gonzalez out there in the left field. Speaking of Gonzalez, how about Marco Gonzalez? The Zag, who I need to text him updates from his Zags who started just about maybe the second or third inning of this game. His last full start in the spring before our regular season begins. We'll talk about Gonzalez coming up.
From
Sports is brought to you by Bill Corum's Puyallup Nissan. Car buying is easy as Sunday morning. And by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more.
Swing and miss, struck him out. Swing and a miss, getting. Swung on and missed, struck him out. Strike three called, that'll do it.
All right, Alexis pitching matchup. Yes, it is the Bartolo Colon. 5-6 last year with the Twins against Gonzalez. And again, Ryan making his last full start before the regular season. What can we expect to see or hope to see tonight?
Yeah, well, this is Marquez's last chance to really turn it on and get to game speed. That's going to be big for him. He's done everything that he's been asked this spring training. He came into camp on a mission to prove himself. He struggled that second, third time through the lineup in 2017, and he's really answering every question. The cutter inside looks really good, and it complements that really good changeup. And the big thing, the velocity's up too. He's in the 92s, 93s, which is really good to see. That tells you he's healthy. This guy's on a mission, and this is his last chance. He's going to have 2 starts left, but really this is his last chance to get above 80 pitches and turn it on into game speed and really treat this like it's June and get after it. So it's going to be fun to watch tonight.
80, 85 pitches, maybe go 5-6 innings, come out and go finish watching his Zags. Yeah. Hopefully advance, right, to the Elite Eight. He's
going to have the TV in the dugout. Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
So that'll be the plan for Marco tonight. The Mariners taking on the Rangers in Peoria. Let's get there right now. Looks like a beautiful night. It's Dave Sims and Mike Blowers. Hey, guys.
What do you say, Brad? What do you say, Ryan? Good evening, everybody. Lots of clouds down here in Peoria, Arizona, but no rain in the forecast as we welcome you to Peoria, Arizona, and we welcome back to the starting lineup in the field. Last night as DH, he's at his natural position, second base, Robinson Cano. And we're glad to see Nelson Cruz back as the DH. Not too many familiar names in this Texas Ranger lineup this evening. And Marco Gonzalez, last time out, faced 18 batters, the most he's seen this year. We'll try to go beyond that as we are underway. Carlos Tachi, he's the center fielder.
82 degrees.
82 degrees, wind blowing out right now towards right field.
And for Marco Gonzalez, they want him 80, 85 pitches tonight. Work through 6 innings if they can. Heard Ryan talking about him. He's had an excellent spring. The cut fastball is something that's been a big pitch for him. Talking to him about that, thinks it's really going to open up the plate for his changeup against the righties.
First strike of the ball game, 2-1. Home plate umpire Quinn Walcott, Jordan Baker, Ramon DeJesus, and Shane Livensbarger working the bases tonight. Mariners with a 7-4 win last night against Milwaukee. So tonight you will not see the likes of Elvis Andrus, Robinson Chirinos, Joey Gallo, Adrian Beltre, Shin-Soo Choo, Nomar Mazara, Rougned Odor, and Ryan Rua. One name you probably will recognize, Jurickson Profar, longtime top prospect who's battled a multitude of injuries in his career in the dirt. And you'll recognize Tommy Joseph, possibly, who came over from the Phillies. They just picked him up off of waivers. And, of course, Big Sexy himself, Bartolo Colon. You'll know who he is. There's Profar. Three-two pitch. Things shaping up. Get those tickets for opening night. It's a week from tonight. Be honest, before you know it, we'll be on again on TV on Saturday against the Cubs, 6:40, 6:30 on the air. Felix will get his start. Then a game Sunday against San Diego here, then Colorado next Tuesday. That will get over Cano's head into short right field for a base hit.
Well, it looked like a pretty good fastball from Marco. 92 miles an hour in on his hands. Just fought it off. Soft little line drive into right.
There's Profar, 25 years old. Seems like he's been around forever. Well, he signed at 16 at Willemstad in Curacao. So many injuries over the course of his career. Just 22 games last year. .72, no homers, 5 runs batted in. Switch hitter, he's at second base tonight.
Well, they've had a tough time finding a place for him to play. You mentioned Beltre, Andrews, Odor on the infield. He is a middle infielder.
1-1 to Profar. So far in the spring, hitting .277, a homer and 5 runs batted in. 13 hits, 4 of them doubles. Long hold by Marco, time's called. Real engaging fellow. Marco Gonzalez, heralded college career at Gonzaga. 26-7, won the John Olerud two-way player of the year honors. He could really swing it too. Good hitter. Some fouled off. As he told us when we spoke last time out, looking forward to giving the National League, get a chance to swing the bat. Takes a lot of pride in it. He's had his share of success in the college ranks, and even a little bit so here in the big leagues.
Well, might line up for you. He has a chance to hit in San Francisco. First road trip of the year.
2-2.
I mentioned the game on Saturday and Felix taking them out. A lot of people anticipating that game, see where Felix is at. I talked to Mel Stottlemyre today. He said he'd like to see him go 60, 65 pitches in that outing. That would get him ready to go. Be in the neighborhood of 80, 85 probably towards his first start.
2-2 to Profar. And at first. On another full count. It's Drew Robinson, the third baseman, on deck. 3-2 and throw over to first. Rangers lost their last 4 games. Lost to the Cubs yesterday 5-1. Who beat them? You Darvish. To go 3-0 this spring. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Pitch fouled back.
With Marco, a very good spring. ERA just over 1. I think the one thing for him is the first inning's been a little bit of a problem for him as far as his command goes. He's been able to work out of some jams, which is the good news of it, but second 3-2 count to start the game here. Overall, in 16 1/3, he has 6 walks.
3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Pitch fouled off. Marco started against the Dodgers, Milwaukee, Oakland, the White Sox, and the Angels. 16 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 2 runs, both earned. 6 walks, 13 Ks, giving up 1 home run. Mariners putting a lot of stock in his breaking out this year. Strike 3 called, and a stolen base for Tachi. 1 out. Runner at second, 1 down, brings up Drew Robinson. Good to see Robbie Cano back out there.
As you mentioned, was in the lineup yesterday after missing some time. Looked good at the plate. It was the DH yesterday. Had a line drive base hit into left field.
Here's Drew Robinson, 208, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in this spring. First pitch strike. First year in the big leagues last year for Robinson, who's 25 years old, out of Las Vegas. 48 games, hit .224. 6 homers and 13 runs batted in. 4th round pick by Texas back in the 2010 draft. Breaking ball. Cano can't get it. Base hit coming around Tachi. He's going to score, and Rangers have a 1-0 lead on an RBI by Drew Robinson. It'll be his 7th run batted in.
And we're talking about command. This is a breaking ball. Looks like it's up in the zone, and it just hangs right in the middle of the plate. Still struggling a little bit. Typically, you'd want that breaking ball down. Ball's above the belt. 17 pitches already here in the first. Again, he's due to go 80-85 today. They'd like for him to go 6 innings.
Here's Tommy Joseph making his Texas debut after being waived by the Phillies. Swing and a miss. He became expendable when Carlos Santana, free agent, was signed by the Fighting Phils. Tommy up with the Phillies the last 2 years. Home run guy. 22 home runs, 69 runs batted in last year. 2 years ago, 21 and 47. Was waived by the Phillies just 3 days ago. Hit .240 last year and .257 the year before. Back in his home area, he's a Phoenix kid. 1-1 pitch. In there for a strike. Also slated to pitch tonight, Jason Bradford, Edwin Diaz, and Juan Nicasio. Marco not as sharp as we've seen it.
No, slider, cutter. The only pitches he's been able to get down in the zone. His fastball and the curveball have been up in the zone.
Let's get him. Close play. Last time out on the 17th on St. Patrick's Day last Saturday. Part of a 7-0 Mariners win over the Angels. Didn't have any difficulties. Gave up one hit in the third inning, went 5 2/3. Shutout ball. There's a 2-2, runner goes. It's fouled back. And in that game, that last time out from Marco, he faced a lot of the regulars for the Angels. Andrelton, Simmons, Valbuena, Pujols. He's 2-2 here. Up high to Tommy Joseph. Another 3-ball count. Third one.
And missing upstairs again.
Juan Centeno, left-hand hitting catcher. He's on deck. One out, a run in. Nice temperature down here today. Was a little bit of sun. It's one of the hotter days we had, in the low 80s. 3-2 pitch, runner at first. Runner does not go. And a pitch taken down low, ball 4. The runners at first and second, one out, 1-0 Texas.
He'll have to find a way to work ahead if he can, so he can get to the good changeup. Changeup, his best off-speed pitch.
Brings up the catcher. Juan Centeno, 250, 2 homers, 2 runs batted in. Lefty could use the double play right here.
In spring training, we talk a lot about pitch counts and these guys trying to build up their arm strength. But another thing that's important for Mel at this point is he talks about the 6 innings. That's important because he wants him to go in the dugout, sit down, and have to get up and go back out onto the field. And when your pitch count gets up like it is right now, it might be difficult for him to be able to do that 6 times.
Trouble. Fair ball down the line. Robinson coming around to score. Tommy Joseph digging for third. He's in standing. RBI double Centeno. It's a 2-0 lead for the Rangers. It's third RBI.
We'll take a look at it. Kyle playing off the bag. Fastball again. It's up above the belt in the middle of the plate. A late swing, but it's going to work for him. A little inside out swing. Not sure that he was trying to hit the ball the other way. It was beat with the fastball, and it worked out for him with Kyle off the bag, which is normal with a left-handed hitter.
Prompts a visit from pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre Jr.
27 pitches in the inning.
That's
a
a
struggle.
lot.
It is a lot.
I mean, well, he's only getting ready to face his 6th hitter. First inning, 3 3-ball counts. First 3 and 2 led to a base hit, the second one an RBI single, a third one he got a walk, and that runner's now at third. Second and third, 1 out. Destin Hood, I think 313 this spring, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in. Hood's in right field for the Rangers today. Drops in a breaking ball for a strike.
A little bit sharper, a little more bite to it.
There's the 0-1. Swing and a miss by Hood, who hails from Mobile, Alabama. Same town that produced great Henry Aaron and Billy Williams, a couple of the all-time greats, among others. Second round pick by the Nationals in 08. Played for Miami 2 years ago, 13 games, hit 240. Oh, 2 strikes. Laborious inning here for Marco Gonzalez, trying to get a second win. 6th start. Strike 3 called, got him. They're both out, strikeouts looking, 2 away.
Take a look at the last pitch, set up on the outside corner, maybe just off the plate, little cutter. Pretty good pitch. 88 miles an hour with the cutter.
Here's Hanser Alberto, the shortstop. Fly ball center field for D. Gordon. Puts it away, big pitch count as the Rangers score twice on 3 hits, leave 2. 2-0 lead with the Mariners coming to bat. Watching some baseball tonight. Let's hit the Mariners. Get right back in it here in the first inning. Good to have them here as Bartolo Colon takes the mound. 45 years old on May 24th. He is the oldest player currently in the major leagues. Full-time All-Star, 2005 American League Cy Young Award winner with the Angels. 240 wins, 176 losses. He's had 37 games against the Mariners in his career with a record of 20-12 and a 3.84. Earned the name Big Sexy during his time with the Mets. First pitch strike. He has lived the baseball odyssey as we look at D. Gordon. Fine spring, 348, 3 homers, 7 runs batted in. He's got 16 hits.
When I first saw Colon, it was in 1997, and he was throwing 95 to 98 miles an hour. And if you watch his career, you're going to see a lot of that right there. We talk about it all the time with the fastball and being able to locate and move it around, and that's something that he continues to do. Yes, he'll mix in a breaking ball and a changeup, but for the most part, he just tries to locate his fastball.
Up, down, in, out.
Yeah, and his fastball isn't what it used to be, but it still works for him.
I remember seeing him with Oakland one time, and he bedeviled the Mariners for sure. And right back to him. Look what I found. 1 out.
And good reactions.
Hey, for almost 45, you're doggone right.
I think he even smiled about it. D having a great spring. Robs him of a base hit.
Giving him the business going down the line. Hey, man, you're not supposed to make that play. Come on now. D. Gordon with 16 hits, second only to Vogelback on the team.
You can see Bartolo look right at him as he was running down the line.
Go ahead, run to first.
Yeah.
Run all the way. There's Romine. 265. Homer and 9 for 34 with the double. Right field tonight.
It's a good fastball for him these days. 88 miles an hour.
21st year in the big leagues for Bartolo Colon. First base side of the rubber. 0-2. Strike 3 called. 2 down. Well, rotation has currently stands for the Texas Rangers. Cole Hamels, Doug Fister, Matt Moore, Mike Miner, and Martin Perez. Perez, I believe, coming back from injury. A good chance for Cologne to make this roster as we look at Robbie Cano. Cano 12 for 22 with a double, hitting .364. The embodiment of you don't have to throw 100 miles an hour.
That's exactly right.
You throw strikes.
And Alberto, the shortstop, playing up the middle.
Go the other way, finds a hole. Nice top spin there by Robbie Cano, Mariners' first hit. Robbie 13th hit of the spring.
And then he picked up a base hit last night. We just talked about it. Alberto, the shortstop, playing up the middle, so finds the big hole on the left side of the infield. See that he can hit the ball the other way anytime he wants to. That's an easy base hit. Nice to have Nelson Cruz back in the lineup.
Indeed, the big man is here. 3 for 17 in 8 games with a homer. 2 runs batted in. Quad issue a few days ago. Got a hard base hit. That was over at against the Rockies. Salt River Field. Hit a bullet down the right field line. I was on the radio side that day. I said, just jogging down to first, made a business decision. He certainly did. It hurt like heck. That's why he was. I thought he was just saving himself. Then it got to first base and pretty much turned around and came right back out of the game.
Which was smart.
Yeah. The same game, Roman's shoulder went out momentarily and knocked him out of action for a while. Strike one to Nelly.
The good news for him is a lot of the guys are healthy and back in the lineup. Going to have this last week to get ready.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. I'd say most of these guys, particularly the veteran guys, and this is pretty much a veteran club, they've had enough.
I think so. Nelson with the 17 at bats. He'd probably like to get a couple more games. But yeah, there will be no problem. Scott said it this morning in his meeting that he wasn't concerned about any of the veteran guys, which as far as the amount of playing time or where they were going to be at the start of the season, and for good reason. They know how to take care of themselves and how to get ready. A lot of them are going to the minor league games now and trying to pick up 7-8 at bats.
Haniger did it today.
Yeah, Haniger did it today. Ichiro did it a couple days ago.
That was fun to watch. Getting the golf cart. And Ryan Ely was on with us yesterday. He drove his own cart. Ichiro, he had a chauffeur. Chopper to the shortstop. Go short way, get the final out. And the Mariners have turned away. Dan Wilson, Alvin Davis, Mr. Mariner. They're going to join you coming up in the next inning.
Go Mariners. There, top of the first. We move now to top of the second in Peoria, and you can join in the fanfare of Mariners opening night at Safeco Field next Thursday versus the Indians. Enjoy fireworks and red carpet intros of Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, and your favorite Mariners. Plus, don't miss the return of Ichiro Suzuki and the welcome of the newest Mariner, D. Gordon. Great seats remain at mariners.com. Now back to Peoria, up in the booth. Players taking over. Mike Blauer is joined now by Dan the Man Wilson and Alvin Davis. Mike?
And it's great to have him in the booth again, second time this spring. Gentlemen, how are you? Alvin?
Doing great, Mike.
Substitute last minute, we appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
Dan, that's a good get on your part.
Well, I mean, anytime you can get AD anywhere, I tell you what, he brightens up the room, no question.
Yeah, I was talking about Marco Gonzalez, Dan, and you've seen this a million times, but this spring's having a great spring. But the first inning has been a problem for him with his command overall. He's been able to get out of a number of times. Today he ends up giving up 2 runs. Is there any reason for that? Is it because he's younger, maybe too amped up, or what have you seen so far from Marco this spring as he gets a strikeout right here?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, the location is everything, and when you're a type of pitcher like Marco, you really have to establish both sides of the plate, and you're going to have success when you can do that. And you're going to need to own that inside part of the plate. You're going to need to get guys off the plate with pitches off the plate in there, but you're also going to have to throw strikes in there so the hit's in the hitter's head that I've got to cover inside, and then he's going to throw that soft stuff away, and the hitter's going to have to think, I got to cover away as well. And so when you get him thinking both sides of the plate, that's when you've got him, because that makes your at-bat much more difficult. So you're right. It's the location. It's the changing of the speeds. It's establishing inside. And when he does all those 3 things, and when he gets into a groove doing that, that's when he has his success.
Mel went out and had a talk with him when he was right around the 30-pitch mark. And he comes right back. And the first pitch is a breaking ball, probably his best breaking ball, throws it for a strike, and he seemed to get in line. Why does that help him out by throwing the breaking ball?
Well, a lot of times when pitchers are struggling with their location,
mainly his fastball.
Mainly his fastball, and that's particularly what happens is a breaking ball gets you further out front. It gets you out where you want to be, out at your release point, lengthens out your release point, gets you out front, and gets you on top of the ball. And then when you go back to your fastball, you're used to being further out front, and you kind of find your release point again with that fastball, and then things kind of can take off from there. And you'll see that a lot when pitchers get into situations where they throw 3, 4, 5 balls in a row. You'll see a catcher just throw that breaking ball in there, even if the count's 3-0, because they need that guy to find his fastball. Throw that breaking ball, get it out front, get the extension that you need, and then get back to the fastball.
And I think for me, watching, hitters, especially at this point in spring, they're going to be aggressive on the fastball early. And I think that if you're not able to work ahead with your fastball, for him, his changeup is so good. You have to be able to get to it, and to get to it, you have to work ahead. He's been able to get back into counts with his breaking ball. But Alvin, you know this, it's tough to get to that changeup when you're behind.
Exactly. Especially, we talk about the feel and having the feel for your pitches, and being a starter, you kind of want to keep something for the second time through the order. So, but sometimes you can't get ahead of yourself, and you got to throw your best stuff in the first inning just to survive and get to that next turn through. So, yeah, for him just to settle in, I think, like Danny said, I mean, fastball command, both sides of the plate, being able to elevate for him a little bit too is very important, and then the changeup starts to be much more effective off of that.
Well, and you see another base hit there and another 3-2 count for him, which I think that's the 4th one in the ball game for him so far. So it's been difficult for him. Yeah,
and I think getting ahead is key too. And it's one of those things that's important for all pitchers, but particularly Gonzo, because you want guys chasing. You want them, you want them to be aware of that fastball, get ahead with that fastball, and then you want them to chase that changeup and get out front and get that weak fly ball or that weak ground ball. And when you're running counts full and your location is off, you're forced to throw more pitches. You're forced to throw more fastballs, and it takes you a lot longer and it's a lot more difficult to get through the inning.
For him, I was talking to Mel Stottlemyre, and he was talking about not just Marco, but all the pitchers now. And it's not just about pitch counts, but it's about how many times they sit down and get back up. Today they wanted him to go 6 innings. I'm not sure he's going to get there because he's going to be in that 80-85 range. But why is that so important, Dan?
Well, I think it's important for these guys. That's what they do during the season. If you go 6 innings, you're going to go down. You're going to get through an inning, sit down. You're going to get back up, and just that routine. Just that that fatigue factor, all those things that are involved with sitting down, letting that heart rate settle down a little bit, and then going back out and getting yourself back in order. And those are the things that are important at this stage. And it's funny, you know, we play. We had minor league games this afternoon, and one of the things that they do in the minor league games, you can't do them here, but they roll the innings. And so
what do you mean by they roll the innings?
You may be. You may have one out in the inning. The pitcher's thrown maybe 15 to 20 pitches, and it's let's roll it because of exactly what you're talking about. They want him to sit down and get back up.
And this is what he's capable of doing. It's a double play to get out of the inning. So a nice pitch right there by Marco. He's struggling a little bit. Going to move into the bottom of the second. Rangers ahead 2-0.
For the best in live music.
And boy, I'm getting hungry. I'm not eaten yet. That looks good. The man, the myth, the Robinson. Saturday, March 31st is Robinson Cano Bobblehead Day presented by Root Sports. The first 20,000 fans will receive their own replica collectible of the reigning All-Star Game MVP. For tickets, visit mariners.com. Now back to our All-Stars. It's Mike, Dan, and Alvin. Guys?
Thank you, Brad. Kyle Seager having a good spring, hitting over 300. I was thinking about him the other day, Alvin, and watching Kyle, and one of the things that I was talking about was for Kyle every year he tells me about what he did over the course of the winter. And he'll typically pick out one thing that he wants to get better at in his game. And you know, we went from second base over to third base, and Kyle, when he came to the big leagues, would spray it all over the field and pick up a lot of hits, and then he wanted to hit for power, so he learned to pull a little bit more. And I think just watching him this spring, he's starting to use the entire field again like that. But I think for him, that's where he takes the next step again. And for you, when you first came to the big leagues, I know that you were talking about it the other day that you wanted to pull the ball more, especially in the Kingdom. Why wouldn't you, as the left-handed hitter? But at some point, you have to get more in the middle of the field again, don't you?
Yeah, and you know, Mike, if that's something I had to do over again, pulling the ball would have been more right fielder to right center field. I just got to be so dead pull that there wasn't a lot of field to work with.
Right.
You know? And sometimes you just get so quick and your eyes just get set on, you know, between the right fielder and the right field line. And man, I think overall as a hitter that can become a detriment.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Wouldn't you think too? I mean, the more and more shifts that you see that have come into the game today, it would seem at some point that the pendulum would swing back and guys would begin to hit the ball the other way, or they'd put a little bit more value on it just to get out of that shift, or maybe have a manager not shift them quite as much that can open up the pull again. I mean, that to me is a big part of the game, and being able to stop that shift would be huge.
I think so, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because earlier in the spring, Kyle, I think out of his first 5 hits, 4 of them were the other way. And I was talking to Edgar about it, and that's exactly what Edgar was saying. He was saying, he goes, that is going to benefit him because They always shift with Kyle, and he goes, now that if they have to play him straight. And we had 2 games in a row where they had to shift on with Kyle. He picked up a base hit the other way, another base hit the other way, and then they stopped it.
Yeah.
And then that's basically what you have to do, and that's something that even Lou talked about. If you don't want him to do it, you have to show them you can go the other way, even though for Alvin, who wanted to pull the ball every now and then, you have to show them that they're not going to keep getting you out away. You have to take that from them.
Change the scouting report.
You have to. So I think that'll benefit Kyle if he stays that way. Now he also has to hit for power, and his power is to right field.
Yeah, right to right center, and you know, Mike, if they're busting you in hard, you really don't have a choice. I mean, it's very, very difficult to take a hard 90+ mile-an-hour fastball and kind of carve it to the opposite field. So you're going to hit the ball where it's pitched for the most part. But if they're working you both sides of the plate and they're trying to get you out on the outside and get you to roll over into the shift, that's a different story.
Yeah, and for me, it was just the opposite. I like the ball out over the plate, and they start to pound me, and I had to pick it back where, okay, I'm just going to look dead in here, and I have to get him out of here so I can get him back to where I want to. And they want to pitch you away for the most part anyway.
Yes.
How about Bartolo on the mound tonight?
Wow. I was there in '97. I was still in uniform. All right, I was still playing when he was throwing 97 miles an hour.
No. Here he is.
He's the last player in a uniform, I believe, to be that have played in the Kingdom.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Here we are 20-some seasons later, you know.
There you go.
Going the other way with some authority right there.
Yeah, there's that hitting the ball the other way, and how valuable that can be. You see that pitch that's up really on the outside part of the plate, and instead of trying to pull that ball, G really goes with it really, really well and drives it. You know, the ball does carry here. Obviously, it's Arizona, and it does carry here very well, but he just stayed behind that ball so well and just drove it out there to right field.
I was talking to Scott listening to Scott talk this morning to the media, and he was saying that with Guillermo, they weren't sure how ready he was going to be coming off the surgery, but he's ready to go. And he says he's going to get to play a lot with Ichiro. And he thought his timing was a little bit off so far, Alvin. But right there you can see him let the ball travel, and that's probably the best way to figure it out. Let the ball travel, recognize it, because for him, he wasn't recognizing the breaking ball. He's chasing a lot of pitches down out of the strike zone. That's another reason why he probably hit it the other way.
Yeah, and that's his strength. Working with him in the cages every day, watching him take BP, hits the ball really well up the middle to the opposite field. And like you were saying, Mike, he does have some power. He can drive the ball the opposite way. He's not just kind of serving it out there. He stays behind the ball real well, hits the inside of the ball real well, and can spin it. We talk about that a lot. You cut it, you run it right back to the right fielder, but if you can backspin a little bit, you can get it over his head.
Get a truer flight to it. Yeah.
Kind of like golf.
Kind of like golf. And there you go. That'll do it. At the end of 2, it's the Rangers 2, Mariners nothing. Back to Peoria, we're moving into the top of the third, and we have, yes, we were talking about it earlier. Edgar Martinez is going to join us. Edgar, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. You about ready to leave spring training? You had enough?
Yes, I think about this time, spring training, we all ready.
How are you feeling overall with the hitters? I know it's been a little bit difficult because some guys have been in and out of the lineup, but overall, how do you feel about the regulars that are going to start the season?
You know, I think most of the guys, they haven't got, we're hoping they get about 60 at-bats. Yeah, like you say, some guys that have been hurt, but the next few days it's time to catch up, and maybe some of the guys go down with the minor leagues and take some extra swings.
Yeah, Papi, I noticed Mitch Haniger came down today. How many ABs did he get?
I think he got seven today. Got 3 hits, so he looked better today.
Poppy, who's been the biggest surprise for you in camp this year offensively?
You know, I think I haven't seen Romine close enough in the past. Dick Gordon, this is, you know, I saw him last year, but those 2 guys, they look good in spring training, and I think it's going to be, they both going to be a great addition.
We have to talk a little bit about Mike Zunino and the night that he had last night, and some people were talking to me about a couple of just really impressive home runs, Gar, but I said for me, I like the base hit his last time up more than any of the other stuff. The power is there, but what a beautiful swing he put on that fastball that was on the inside part of the plate. Talk about Mike a little bit.
Yeah, Mike, like you know, last year he put a lot of work. He got a fine year last year, and this year he looks even better. Yeah, I did like last at bat. Remember, I think he had like 3-2 count, and he fouled off a changeup, pretty tough pitch, and then he got a fastball, and he was right on it. His approach, his swing, it looks great this year.
It helps when you come to spring training, and I said Mike has obviously made a lot of changes over the years and finally found something last year. I'm sure it had to be a relief for him to come to spring training with something that he believed in, because he did well last year. And whenever he had some struggles, he knew what he had to work on, and it wasn't a complete overhaul again.
Yes, you know, now the key is that he trusts his swing. You know, he put all that work, and it worked for him, and now he don't feel like he have to change anything. It's just keep improving, and the results, you see the difference. He's doing great.
Gar, you know, the first part of spring training is obviously about timing. You're down to about a week now. What is kind of the priority as you get ready to head north? What are the things that guys are really kind of focusing in on here in the last 4 or 5 games down in spring training?
Yeah, I think it's still timing. Some of the guys, you know, it's key to get the fastball timing. Right now it's about that time, and you get 30, 40 at-bats in spring training, and it gets better. So, but to me, timing is the key, and some guys are still working on that.
Poppy, do you feel like we're starting to see more of the complete repertoire of the pitchers that we're facing? Are guys starting to dial in their secondary pitches and their sequences and things like that?
Yes, and you know, they get a lot of information to the season, but it's good for them to get deeper in the count, see what the pitchers have, see more breaking balls, and now the pitchers go deeper in the game too, so give them the opportunity to see all their pitches.
So for this last week, are you still in the cages at 6 o'clock in the morning, or do you take a little bit of a break?
No, we have we go there half an hour later.
Well, Gar, I know it's been a long spring. You've done a great job with all these guys. About a week to go. Let's get them ready. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you, guys.
It's amazing.
Best.
Yeah, he is the best. And so for us media types now, Scott usually has his meetings early in the morning before the guys get started, because he's so busy and has so many things to do. And I can't tell you, Alvin, how many times we're waiting outside that room, and here comes Edgar, full uni, walking in from the cages already in the morning. Just the amount of work and people and all. You would hope, you would think, that as spring training goes on and they start making some cuts, it gets a little bit easier, but it seems like things just gets more intense as far as the regulars that want more work.
Yeah, and you know, meetings, you know, you throw a few meetings in there because you got to get them all in. You know,
Yeah.
A lot of them are mandatory, and So, and you know, these guys just love to hit. They love their routines, and so it's hard to beat them to the cage most days.
Yeah, I saw you in there too, flipping the ball around.
Yep, flip master.
But that's also what it takes, right? You have to put that work in.
Yeah, definitely, and I love it. I'll stay in there and do it as long as they need it. Feed the machine to them now. You know, the usage of the curveball machine has gone up. So yeah, all of that just kind of fits right with getting ready for the season.
A nice 1-2-3 inning for Marco Gonzalez as we move to the bottom of the third.
Spring is coming.
We turn our cameraman loose on the berm. Rangers still lead 2-0. Just heard from Edgar. Boy, it's a lot of hits, a lot of home runs, a lot of awards with Edgar, Mike Blowers, Dan Wilson, and Alvin Davis, guys. A lot to be proud of.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's great to have these guys here with me tonight, talking some baseball, having a good time, even though they're ready for spring to be over too, like most people, but we're getting there. Nice inning for Marco. I see him settle down. 1-2-3 inning for him.
Yeah, you know, we were talking off camera. I mean, it's a big part of a starter's job when they're not dialed in, when they don't have their command. Battle through it, take your turns, you know, get as deep as you possibly can, kind of limit the damage, give your team an opportunity to get going on offense. And man, how many times, Dan, does a guy come out with a win from that? He finds something,
Right.
He finds his command, settles down, the offense gets going, and next thing you know, he's in the 6th inning, he's done his job, come away with a win.
Yeah, you know, I think you can't. Being a catcher, that's where you rely on your catcher a lot of the times, is when you don't have your best stuff, and that's where you see catchers really able to step up and make a big difference. And you know, we talked a little bit about the location and the changeup. And sometimes when you don't have your best pitch, or it's not quite as sharp, then you introduce the other pitch and you try it for a little while, and maybe that gets you through an inning or two, like you're talking about, and then you go back to the changeup, and lo and behold, there it is. And now I get through another 2 innings, and you find yourself in the 6th inning, and your team has come back. I mean, that happens all the time, and that's you know, you don't have your best stuff every time you go out there, but it's getting creative, it's trying different things, finding counts to try to get your pitches back, and then letting it roll from there.
I think you can look at it on both sides of it too. I know, to me, it's not giving into the situation or quitting or being defeated, but you have to limit whatever it's going to be, and we know what that means on the pitching side of things, and Jamie was one of the best at that. Jamie used to talk about that, you know, try to give up the 1 run and not turn it into 3 or 4. And so you're sacrificing something there, even though everybody, you know, the pitchers never want to give up a run. You see D. Gordon fly out. But I think on the hitting side of it, too, Alvin, I know for myself, you're up against somebody, and on a particular night, you're not seeing the ball well, and you just find a way, how do I mix in a walk, and how do I hit this thing into right field and pick up a base hit and move on to the next day, because you just know for whatever reason that day you're either not picking it up or you're just overmatched.
Yeah, sometimes that bat just feels really heavy. But we talk about that a lot with our kids down on the minor league side. There's so many ways to impact a baseball game and to help your team win. And it's not always, you know, swinging the bat. You know, sometimes it's base run. Or it could be something that will never show up in the box score, like you notice a guy's tipping a pitch or he's fallen into a pattern, and you share that information with your team. You pick something up on first base that you share with your base stealers. So always staying in the game, always looking for a way to make an impact, especially when the bat feels heavy.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, though, because a lot of those things that you just talked about, tipping pitches and looking at sequences that the pitcher's falling into and all those different things, I didn't learn a lot of that stuff till I got to the big leagues. Now, you're running around through minor league camp and all these guys. That's changed where these guys are actually talking about those things now, right?
Yeah, and, you know, just trying to teach that principle to them, Mike, more than anything else, because they do get so wrapped up in what they've done on the mound or what they've done in the batter's box. You know, they forget how they can make an impact in the field with their glove. You know, they forget how important it is to run out, you know, a double play ball, or you know, make a hard turn on a fly ball. Just the energy that it gives your team that you're playing hard. That's impact that doesn't show up in the box score, but it matters.
Good to see Andrew Romine pick up a base hit. He missed a few days also. Hurt his shoulder, I believe, when we were over playing against the Rockies trying to make a play. He's trying to win that utility job. But he's really played well again this spring. They haven't had many competitions in this spring, but what they've had, it's going to be a tough decision for them to have to cut this roster down to 25, don't you think?
I think it is. These guys have played really, really well. I mean, they're the type of people that you want to have on your ball club.
It's a great group.
It is a great group.
I'm also happy to see him in right field. I know he's played everywhere. In fact, he played everywhere in one game last year, but it's good to see him in right field too.
Well, that means he's in the catcher's union. If he caught an inning, Blow, he's in the catcher's union. That's how it works.
I'm a proud member.
I know you are. I know you are, Blow. And I love to relive it with you.
Alvin, did I ever tell you about my inning in Cleveland? You're looking at me like you don't believe it.
No, I believe you.
Come on, Blow, let's hear it.
Yeah, I was going to say, story time.
Well, I came to camp in '93, which was Lou's first year, and I was kind of on the outside looking in. I was in that 25, 26, 27 man guy. And so I figured I was going to do everything I could do to try to make the ball club. And one of the things that I made the suggestion, why don't I go down and learn how to catch and then come to spring training as just an emergency catcher. I didn't want to be the backup or any of that other stuff. If there's an emergency, and I'll play the outfield too. And so Roger Hanson, who we see every day, he came down here instruction league with me, and we worked on it for a little bit. And came to spring training, and I did that for the first couple of weeks. But I was so happy to get rid of that gear. But anyway, some things happened, and I ended up having to catch an inning in Cleveland. I was glad that was absolutely it. So, we're going to move into the top of the fourth inning. Mariners still not on the scoreboard. Just 3 hits tonight.
Look at that, not bad. How high? 51. Not bad at all. Rangers still lead 2-0. Kids out there, so much to do around the field there in Peoria. Now on Sunday, April 1st, the Mariners celebrating the start of the season with Kids Opening Day presented by Boeing. All youngsters are invited to join a pregame parade around the field, plus they'll receive a free Felix Hernandez t-shirt. Be part of the fun by picking up tickets now at mariners.com. We continue our fun in the booth with Mike, Dan, and Alvin. Mike?
Thank you, Brad. Marco Gonzalez, 32 pitches in the first, and in the third inning, he comes out and throws 14 as a 1-2-3 inning. So starting to settle in. Let's see him work ahead. Nice curveball to get ahead right there.
It looks like he's getting to his glove side a little more effectively, keeping that ball on the plate. In the first 2 innings, it seemed like that ball was sliding off on the inside corner. The right-handers.
Although a lot of the regulars aren't in the lineup for the Rangers tonight, I did notice they had 3 lefties in there, and I wanted to see that. See how he used his cutter and his breaking ball to the left-handed hitter.
Yeah, they've got the 2 lefties, Gallo and Odor in the regular lineup, and Mazzara. So it's good for him to see these guys.
A good pitch there at the top of the zone. You know, Mike, we talk about it a lot now. I think more pitchers are beginning to utilize that, top part of the zone, and we talk a lot about the analytics, but with heat maps and you look at where hitters are very effective, it's mostly the middle of the zone to the bottom of the zone, and so there's a lot of strikes to be had kind of in that upper part of the zone, and not so much, I don't think so much with called strikes, but I think more with swinging strikes up there, and it's just a hard pitch to make good contact and get on top of it enough to get to hit the ball on the line. So I think you see a lot more guys in the game today using that upper part of the strike zone, not just with 2 strikes, but intentionally to get those swinging strikes up there.
So is it launch angle is the reason why they're pitching up there? Is it because the umpires are actually calling those pitches strikes now? I mean, because a few years, it wasn't that long ago, as Robbie bobbles that one, can't make the play. Again, he missed some time. He was the DH yesterday. It's his first game back at second base. Or is it a combination of them? I'm not sure, but you're definitely seeing pitchers try to use the top of the strike zone more, because everything used to be down, right? Work down, 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 try to keep the ball on the ground. But with the way these guys are swinging now, you're right in that loop zone, and they're hurting you. But it doesn't do you any good if the umpires aren't calling those pitches too.
Right, and I think you're right. It's a combination of all those things. And you talk about the loop zone. You talk about guys being very effective down more with their bats down in the zone, and anytime you can get the ball up there, and again, it doesn't need to be that 97-mile-an-hour fastball up there. You just need to be able to get it in the right location. And again, it's about location. Spin rate obviously helps. They talk about the spin rate, keeping the ball true as it goes through there. But at the same time, just being able to stay up in that upper part of the zone effectively can be a pretty good weapon for a guy if he can do it effectively.
It's interesting because the first time that when you talk about the spin rate, that I heard a pitcher talk to me about it outside of a breaking ball was the fastball, and it was Casey Lawrence. And Casey wants to be down right with a sinking fastball and a slider. And he said when they showed him the analytics on the spin rate of his fastball up in the zone, that's a good pitch. And so he's been trying to work on that more this spring. He's having a great spring, by the way. But he was talking about using that because of the numbers.
Yeah, and I don't understand it all that well, but I do know that spin rate.
Well, why are we having it here? That's why we got that chance.
Come
this
on,
is all new. But it keeps the flight of the ball much truer, and it kind of has that what would feel like almost a rising action to it when you have a good spin rate, and guys that don't, the ball feels like it actually might drop a little bit, whereas a guy with good spin rate, it's going to come in true, or it's almost even going to feel like as a hitter like it's going to rise on you, and that's the difference when you have a good spin rate. It's good to be able to use it up in the zone.
Well, and Alvin, that's something we used to talk about all the time. Well, I'm looking at the board and he's throwing 91, but it seems like it's getting on me.
Yep.
And that's what they're talking about, right?
Yes, it's optics. You know, it looks so good, and I mean, we all three know as hitters, you see it coming out of the hand, you see the whole ball, and you feel like you can get to it, but you just can't quite catch it.
Right.
Can't barrel it up. It's interesting talking to our guys that are using the tech with the Rapsodo and things like that. They say that it's not for everybody. You know, it's just there's certain characteristics of guys that the way they spin the ball, their fastball, they get that good ride, you know, that life at the top of the zone, and that's an effective pitch for them. That's what they're telling us more than anything else.
And that's a big part of scouting now. They look at those numbers, you know, even for younger players. Some kid that maybe is throwing 87, but he's going to grow and mature in his body. But if they see that spin right there, they think that they have something later on down the road, and maybe it's worth taking a chance on, even though he's not a guy that's throwing 95.
Right. The way, you know, Safeco typically plays, you know, you don't mind having guys hit the ball in the air, especially in the big ball part of the ballpark. So it can be an effective weapon for us, and especially when you start talking about variety in our staff, because you know that you know, Felix is going to pound the lower half of the zone. You know, Pax is going to let it eat a little bit higher in the zone. So you give teams different look, and you know, in a 3 or 4 game series, that's a good thing because it's a tough adjustment to make.
And for Marco now, again, he was supposed to go 6 innings, 80, 85 pitches. He's at 75 right now. So he may work through the 5th.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to roll it, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Able to work around an error, strikeout swinging, move to the bottom of the 4th.
It'd be nice to get a Mariners home run ball out there on the berm. They trail 2-0 heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. And throughout the season, the Mariners and EQC honor the brave men and women who serve in our nation's military with a special 10% discount on select seats. All active and retired members can pick up tickets by showing valid military ID at the Safeco Field box office. Now I know that you're enjoying it like I am. The players only booth. It's Mike Blowers, Dan Wilson, Alvin Davis. Mike, take it away with big Nelly Cruz stepping up.
Well, it's great to have Nelson back in the lineup today. Again, he's been out for a little leg injury. Alvin, for somebody like Nelson, I was looking at it today, has 17 at-bats this spring. How many at-bats do you think he needs?
You know, he's starting to get locked in. You can see it in his work. You can see it in his BP. I had a chance to eat dinner with Fleming Baez and Narciso Cabrera, who they throw BP, and I asked Nasu who stood out to him today, and he said Nelly was just, he's just crushing the ball. So, he's getting close. Like we were talking about last week, that dimmer switch is starting to get a little bit higher, and these guys are starting to get a little more focused. So, just get him some more ABs, get him some rhythm. Get him some hard contact in the fair, and I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll probably also be one of the guys we've already talked about it with the number of guys that are going to the minor league fields and getting 7, 8 at bats. He may do that one day too.
Would not be surprised. One of the things we've talked about this spring is that Nelly is such a routine guy, and he takes so many swings during the game, especially at home. There's no cage here. There's no place for him to do his regular routine like he does during the season. here at spring training, just the way the facility is built. So once he leaves the clubhouse and the cages, the major league cage at the clubhouse, he's pretty much
sitting and wait. He has to sit and wait. Yeah.
So and for him, it's probably like, pinch hitting 4 times. Whether he has the video room, he can go in and look, see how they're working him. He can go in and take some swings, and he swings a lot. He can get on that bike or whatever, just treadmill. Make sure he's got a nice little sweat when he takes an at bat.
I think also sometimes it's just you just have to keep busy.
Yeah.
Just to not overthink things. I know for Edgar, when one of the best ever, but when Edgar first started at it, that's what he kept talking about. He's trying to figure out what works for him. And then once he did that, that routine never changed. So all of a sudden you're out here in spring training, you don't have that routine. It makes it a little more difficult.
Definitely.
That to me really is one of the reasons why, there's all the debate about designated hitter in the Hall of Fame, whatnot. But, in some ways it's so much more difficult to only be a hitter. And just to that point right there, Mike, not to have any defense that distracts you from, between your at bats. And as you look at Edgar there, he was so good at it, but it isn't something that happens right away. It's an acquired skill that takes a lot of time and expertise to figure out.
And I can tell you also, playing in the field, as you were mentioning early, Alvin, if you're not swinging the bat well defensively, you can make a play that takes some pressure off of you. And I was right there in the middle of it. At first, he did not want to be a DH. He wanted to stay in the field and do his thing over there. And he was a good third baseman. That's a hard thing. And Lou finally convinced him that we need you in the lineup, because he started to have some problems, especially with his legs. And then he had a shoulder that I would basically come in the game in the 7th inning if we had a lead to pick him up, because he could barely get the ball across the time because he was hurt. And so he finally conceded to that, which helped me out because I got to get in the lineup, which was great. But he turned out, it took him a while, and I watched him go at it, and he would talk about it, and he finally found something that worked for him, and he turned out to be one of the best ever. But it's not an easy thing. It's not something that everybody can do.
Right.
Mike, I think back early on with the DH position, some of the guys were either very, very limited on defense, or they were older guys that were trying to extend their careers. I mean, guys that were in their mid to late 30s.
Right.
And but now it's such a position that has such an impact on your offense, and it doesn't have the stigma that maybe it had during my generation. Coming up, kind of the second generation of guys playing with the DH. So you didn't want to be a DH. You wanted to have the leather on as long as possible, and but that's changed now.
Pretty good swing by Ryan Healy. He's been impressive to me. He missed all that time in spring training. I think he came into the game with 7 at-bats. And in his 2 or 3 starts that he's had, he has squared it up 2 or 3 times. He looks like he's right on it right there. That's a nice line drive. Unfortunately, it was caught on the track, but that's pretty impressive to do. When we start talking about timing for everybody else, he's locked in.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was talking to somebody today about that very thing, and that he looks, I mean, for as limited time as he's had, and coming off of a hand injury no less, he looks like he's ready to go. And boy, youth is such a beautiful thing, because you heal fast, and he really, you're right, Mike, he looks great. He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah. I know he was real anxious to get back in the lineup too. I talked to him and he couldn't wait. He was not happy just taking back in practice. Yeah.
Speaking of a DH, between at-bats, he was a little stir crazy himself, I think.
And that'll do it here in the 4th inning. We'll move on to the 5th inning. Mariners still trying to get on the scoreboard. Welcome back to Peoria, where the Mariners are trailing the Rangers 2-0. Marco Gonzalez still on the mound. This will be his 5th inning of work, and we have a special guest, Mark Zipchinski. Mark, how you doing?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How's spring gone for you so far?
Good so far.
Yeah, I saw you got 7 innings so far with the big club. Have you done anything down on the minor league side of things?
No, I got my back-to-back starting tomorrow and then Saturday.
Is that typical for you as far as spring goes?
Yeah, I usually like to get one in just toward the end. You know, try to get the arm used to pitching multiple days in a row.
I have to ask you, you're one of the best in the business, and you get some tough duty having to get the toughest left-hander in the lineup out. How did that evolve for you and to where you're at now, and why are you so good at getting those guys out?
You know, it was one of those things for me when I got turned into reliever in 11. I was kind of playing under Farrell and under Russo, kind of just a matchup guy sometimes and a multiple inning guy at the same time because I came off of that spring being a starter. So just over my career, just probably talking to Scott Downs is probably one of the best guys that I got a chance to play with, about being able to throw a sinker in. And, you know, that was kind of my bread and butter since then. So just picking his brain back when I was with him in Toronto. So after that, I kind of just being pretty good at being able to get left-handers out.
Outside of him, are there guys in the past, you know, the left-handed specialist is such a specialized and unique kind of a, you know, position to have out of the bullpen. Are there guys in the past that you've sort of looked to for an example, or guys you try to aspire to be from back in the day?
You know, it was, I got to play with Randy Choate toward his end of his career in St. Louis together, and then obviously seeing Lopez in San Fran. Just watching him, watching Javi do what he did for years and years and years, just watching those guys, you know, come in, face one hitter, and sometimes live or die through one pitch. So just trying to, you know, pick those guys' brains and see what those guys did by just watching and being able to, you know, try to, how it is mentally, just being able to face one hitter.
Zep, you talked about going back-to-back. You know, when you're going back-to-back nights against coming in facing maybe one or two of the same lefties, do you do anything as far as sequencing is concerned, or do you just still stick with your strength?
You know, I stick with my strengths for the most part. It's just, you know, I've probably faced most of the lefties in the league, both sides being an NL and an AL as much as I have. So just being able to, you know, figure out what's working in the bullpen that day. And obviously, you know, I face a guy 2-3 times a series. They know what I'm coming out with them. So I don't try to change up too much and just try to execute the pitch more than anything else.
Mark, you've been around for a long time now, and as you look at this bullpen this year, it looks like it's going to be a real strength for this club. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. I know losing Phelps this week is,
that's
you know,
tough.
it's big news. But, you know, we got guys that can step up. I mean, we've seen the way Dan's throwing the ball this spring, and he's always had the electric stuff. So it looks like he's starting to back it up. And then obviously signing Juan definitely helps. And Vinny and myself, Paz, I mean, we're all ready to go. You know, we're going to build off each other. But, you know, anytime we can make the game shorter and get the ball to Eddie is going to definitely benefit us.
So at this point, when you're walking out to the bullpen at the start of the game, you pretty much know when you're going to be in there, don't you?
Sometimes,
yeah.
You know, it's one of those, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But for me, I'm always ready to pitch. Even if it's during the early season, it's late in the game, I'm ready. Or if it's early in the game, I'm ready. It just depends on the situation.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Turner's spring training on Root Sports is presented by Dunn Lumber, building success together.
Just a week away from opening day back to Peoria with Mike, Dan, and Alvin. And Bartolo still on the mound, guys.
He is still out there. We need Dan Wilson in the lineup. Dan has a .320 career hitter against Bartolo. How'd you do it, Dan?
I don't know. Well, you got some hits. You're 2 for 6.
2 for 6. Yeah,
that's impressive.
A couple of RBIs. Don't forget about those.
Oh well, can't forget the stakes.
It's amazing the longevity that some of these pitchers. And I met Jamie earlier, but how long these guys can stick around. And I was talking to Brian Holman last night. One of the things he talked about is located fastball down and away always works, and that's really true.
Still the best pitch in baseball is a well-located fastball. And AD and I were talking even before we got on the air and talking about Bartolo early in his career. Obviously, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and you know, had the repertoire. But interesting now, you know, all good pitchers that last long have to reinvent themselves at some point, and you look at Bartolo. That's what he's done. He's thrown maybe the most I've seen tonight, maybe 88, maybe 87.
I think he stopped out at 88.
And so, you know, you reinvent yourself, and that's what Jamie Moyer did so well, and found his changeup, and it changed his career, and he pitched till he was, you know, 50 years old. So it's amazing to see these guys out there.
You know, we talked earlier with the elevated fastball, you know, and Bart's just the way he's locating tonight. I mean, obviously spotting up, he's hitting the spots. The glove's not moving a whole lot around home plate. He's changing speeds. He's sinking his fastball. He's cutting his fastball. You know, you hump up a little bit to 88. You know, well, when you're at 85, that 88 looks
at the top of the zone.
Yes, at the top of the zone. And so Dan and I were talking, you know, just throwing the ball over the plate for all those young pitchers out there that are looking at the broadcast, you know, throwing the ball over the plate and just attacking the strike zone. You know, his tempo is real good. He stays on the dirt. He stays near the pitcher's plate. Just gets it and goes.
To the top of that number for Seattle, center fielder, D. Gordon.
I'll tell you what, it's been really a pleasure to watch D, you know, as he's come to the team, just what he's brought, not just on offense, but even the defense in center field, but more so than that, to me, just what he brings to the clubhouse. I mean, he brings a lot of life, and you got to love, he's got the biggest smile I've seen since juniors. I mean, he just lights up the room, and what a joy he's been to watch as he's gotten more and more comfortable. It just brings more and more life.
He has just about as many at-bats as anybody, and there's a lot of kids that have a lot of at-bats, and he's right there with them.
Yeah.
And he's wanted to be in the lineup, and there he is every day.
Yeah, he's getting close to his in-season routine. He's mentioned in our cage work here recently. You know, one of the things he really knows is an asset for him is his adjustability in his swing, his ability to do different things with different pitches that normal hitters, something that we'd never teach to our young guys, you know, being able to take a fastball in and shoot it to that 6-hole because for him that's a base hit.
Yeah.
And with that, the Mariners still trail 2-0. The bottom of the fifth is brought to you by Heritage Distilling BSB Brown Sugar Bourbon. You can't spell baseball without BSB.
Saturday at 6.
Getting ready to start the top of the 6th inning. Marco Gonzalez, his evening is done. He went 5 innings through 84 pitches overall. We're going to bring in Ryan Rowland-Smith. And Ryan, your thoughts on Marco Gonzalez tonight?
I thought he looked good. The first inning, he had the 30 pitches or so, and you look at that this time in spring training, and Mike, you said it early too, and this is the important part for a starting pitcher. It's not about so much the pitches, but it's about getting up and down as many times as you can, before the lights go on. And you're at first you're a little bit worried: is he going to get those turns? Sitting down, getting back out there. But, man, he really settled in, and that is such a good sign for Marco Gonzalez. The one hurdle he had last year was getting second, third time through the lineup, and he looked good today, mixing up different sequences, especially late in the count.
How does cut fastball look to you, Ryan?
It looked good, and we saw this last game as well. And we've seen these sequences where he's able to go in with that cut fastball and then go away with that changeup. I think the next step for him is just identifying when to use that and what counts. Sometimes when you do add a pitch to your repertoire, I remember trying to mix in a cut fastball in 2010 in spring training. It was effective, but I didn't really know when to use it, what counts. And you really only get a good month or so to try and figure that out in spring training. So I think the next step for him is just being comfortable knowing that, if I can throw that pitch down and in, it can be effective, and I can back it up with knowing what pitch you can back it up with right after that.
So in your estimation, he's ready to go. He looked good enough to get the season started. 84 pitches again tonight.
Yeah, I think he looked good. And again, it's more about, I was hoping to see 6 out of Marco to get him up and down 6 times. But, a guy like Marco Gonzalez too, and from what we saw last year, he's coming back from that Tommy John surgery. You want him going into March 29th with no doubt in his mind that his stuff can play. And I feel like tonight he got a little bit of that. And, 5 or 6 days away, I feel like he has that, from the neck up. I think he's really ready to go.
Thanks for your thoughts, Ryan. Appreciate it. Jason Bradford going to take over on the mound.
Well, it really goes back to what AD was talking about. He stuck around, and he had that little rough, bumpy first inning. But then after that, really found some stuff. I think these are the kind of outings where you grow probably more as a pitcher, and your confidence grows a little bit more to know that, yeah, I might not have had my best stuff, but I stuck around tonight, and I did what I had to do to keep this ball club in the game, and he's done that. And I think these are kind of very foundational outings where you can really build on them pretty well.
Yeah, I think he is absolutely ready to go. Alvin, had an alumni party last night. It's good to see some of your old friends, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, man. Ed Vandenberg, Edwin Nunez, Billy Swift. Hadn't seen those guys in decades.
Keith Comstock.
Yeah, Keith, you know. And just, you just kind of pick up right where you left off. You catch up with family, you know, and now the age we are, we're talking about grandkids, how the grandkids are doing, or if you have any grandkids. And but yeah, after that, it's just, man, it's so great to see those guys. So many great memories. And, we talked about it last time I was on the broadcast, how all of us came through the system together.
Yeah.
So, we have memories even before we got to Seattle, and just made a huge difference in each other's lives. So it was really good to see everybody.
I think too, Dan, with this organization overall, and you think about, a number of teams and years that go through it in playoffs and things like that, but you have to build to those things, and that's where a lot of those guys that were here last night, they were the start of a lot of it, which was great to see in here.
Yeah, it really was. And, it's funny, thinking about that, for me, I think about Renee Latchman. I think about Billy Swift. I was able to see those guys the second time they came through the Seattle Mariners, right? Renee came back as a coach. I think it was 2003 or 2004. And then, Billy Swift was here briefly. And just, it's been nice to be able to kind of be a part of that as well, to see Swifty. And that kind of connects me back to AD again, because AD played with Swifty. It's just those connections, and AD mentioned, he nailed it. It's family, and a big reason why I like being in the booth with you, Blow. It's just we've been through a lot together, and a baseball season's long, and you travel a lot. Your families get to know each other, and you are family by the end of the year. And so these events are awesome. It just brings everything back.
I don't know what it was like over there while the game was going on. But for me, the best line that I heard, and it had to be one of the best, was when Ken Phelps saw Brian Holman and asked him if he wanted to throw some BP. What do you think about that, Alvin? That's a little rough greeting, isn't it?
You know, we say oftentimes too soon. You know, it's been 30 years. It's not too soon. You know, Brian chuckled at it as well.
Mariners looking to get on the scoreboard. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th.
Jet
Mariners Spring Training on Root Sports is brought to you by Magic Toyota, right on Highway 99 in Edmonds. By your Western Washington Honda dealers, visit your local Honda dealer. And by Jet Chevrolet, shop 24/7 at jetchevrolet.com. It's the Old West out there in Peoria. I like that. The desert. Rangers on top 2-0. We move to the bottom of the 6th, and Bartolo's still doing his thing, Mike.
He really is. He's pitched well today. Romine, Cano, and Cruz are due up. So hopefully they can score some runs here in this inning. His pitch count up to 63 now. That's how efficient he has been. Okay, so Brian was talking about hitting in that perfect game. He had to his last time up, Alvin. Why was that?
Defensive switch.
You're just talking about how long we've been around. You're still salty about that.
Yeah, a little bit salty. Yeah.
We all would be, right?
Oh, my gosh. Not that often you get the opportunity to play in a potential perfect game.
Yeah.
You know, and then you come out for defense. I believe it was in the 8th inning. You know, I'd hit in the 8th, and so it looked like, you know, we only needed 6 outs, but you know, lo and behold, we put runners on base, and Brian's got a hit, which wasn't the end of the world. I mean, he came up in the National League. He played in Montreal, so it wasn't like he was a stranger to having a bat in his hands. But still, probably not the thing that you want to even thinking about in the middle of a perfect game.
Yeah, I would guess. It's just funny, though, sometimes how things work out. You know, you talk about that situation, and we were talking earlier about me getting my 1 inning, Dan, catching. We were in Baltimore. Bill Hasselman, I don't know if you remember when he charged the mound and then he gets suspended, and Val was the same type of thing. Val was catching, and I think he ended up getting pinch hit for, and I'm sitting at the end of the bench not doing anything, minding my own business. And next thing I know, Lou's telling me to put the gear on, and out I go. I mean, it was one of those things that you don't anticipate that happening sometimes, or the way this game moves along. And you know, so you always have to. It's a good lesson. You always have to be ready.
Got to be ready.
And sometimes, Alvin, it's better to just go ahead and put your hat and your glove on the bench and just sit in the corner, right?
Your teammate's throwing a perfect game, so that's not the time to be salty. That's the time to be on the top step cheering him on. But I tell you what, just man, our hearts just sunk when Digger hit that ball. It's like, no.
Well, see, I knew Brian from my days with the Expos when he was in the minor leagues over there where I was, and I was watching that game too, and I felt exactly the same way watching the game.
Yeah. It's just almost indescribable. And then, you know, I mean, with Digger, it's like, you know, here's our former teammate, so you're kind of happy for him, but you're not. You know, you're not really happy for him. He just broke up a perfect game.
Where you were talking about it earlier, I enjoyed listening to him. He was talking about pinch hitting. He was a pinch hitter and hits the home run. And he was saying that watching the game, he knew that Brian was on his game, and normally he liked to take a pitch or two coming off the bench. At that point, he was a veteran player. But he said, watching Brian, he said, I am not, and he said, my reputation is to do that. And he said, in this at-bat, I am not going to do that, because if I give him the first pitch strike, he's going to go to work on me. He's that good tonight. And he hit a first pitch fastball out of the ballpark. And Brian said that was the scouting report on him. So sometimes switching up helps.
Yeah, and I think it opens up such a big can of worms too, because pinch hitting is such a different animal than just
I wanted to swing right away. Give me a fastball.
You got to get in there. You got to get your hacks in.
Yeah, that's the way I was taught to do it. And if nothing else, even if you foul it back, you're going to get loose. So
yeah.
A little bit closer to squaring it up, so it might take you two to get square. So don't take two, right?
No.
Swing two swings, not two pitches.
Typically, if you're pinch hitting, you get in there late in the game, and you're pinch hitting probably because you're behind, and they have somebody that's pretty good out there, either a setup guy or a closer that you're dealing with. It's not a lot of fun.
Right, or a starter who's dealing.
Or a starter who's exactly.
Yeah, 2 outs, flat man. 2 outs. Oh my goodness.
Andrew putting up a fight, ended up breaking his bat here, but had a base hit his last time up. Good to see again. He's missed some time, had a shoulder problem, but back in the lineup playing right field today.
Yeah, I talked to him in the cage work, and he said he's feeling better every day, so that's a good sign for him. Then Brian, he's got to lock it back in right away.
Yeah, that's why I asked him, how did you feel after that, and who came and talked to you? And he said that his attitude wasn't the manager, and I can't remember, but somebody started to walk out to the mound, and he was like, Valiant Lefevre was who it was, and he said, I just wanted to get the ball and get after the next guy, which he ended up striking Ricky Henderson.
I got to give a shout out tonight to the Modesto Nuts, the single A affiliate for the Mariners, getting their rings tonight. Look at that.
Nice looking ring.
Very
Congratulations.
nice ring. Yeah, won the California League last year. And what a great job they did. And I'll tell you what, it was a pretty exciting season from start to finish. And those guys deserve a huge congratulations. And winning any league is a huge accomplishment. Great job, guys.
Going to have a pitching change. We'll pick up the bottom of the sixth when we get back.
Training on Root Sports is brought to you by Dunn Lumber, building success together. By Safeco Insurance, find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. By Steel, to find your local Steel dealer, visit steeldealers.com. And by Fred Meyer. Nice shot there, the quad at the coral pink sand dunes on the Utah-Arizona border. You see the driver there, and a friend, so maybe that's Mike and Dan Wilson before the game today, guys, out four-wheeling in the dunes. Any chance?
Unless it was a golf cart, it wasn't me. Steve Delabar on the mound, former Mariner. going to take over for the Rangers. Dan, I have to ask you about this. Last night, Mike Zunino hits the 3 home runs. The last catcher to hit 3 home runs in a game back in 1996. Tell me about the home runs, Dan. Was one of them inside the Parker?
No,
all of them left the yard?
No, I actually earned these ones.
Were they all to left field?
No, one was to right,
really?
2 to left. Yeah.
Nice.
Just one of those days. It was old Detroit, so
oh, nice.
That was kind of such an interesting ballpark, but yeah, just you just feel good some days.
It was in April. It had to be cold out.
Yeah, it was, and I think Randy pitched a shutout that game.
Wow. Good day for you all the way around.
It was fun. That was a fun day.
That means you got a shutout, Daddy.
We had a day in Detroit, and it was freezing outside. And I think Jay was having an issue with his knee, and so I was in the lineup at third, and then Lou ended up putting me in right field. I think Doug Strange ended up playing third in that game, and I can't remember who the backup catcher was, but he was also unavailable. So Danny had to go into the game. And remember I was telling you about my 1-inning catching?
Yes.
Well, I was still the emergency catcher. So I went up to Dan. This is something, he says it to me all the time, to this day. And I just walked past Dan in the dugout, and I just looked at him. I said, Dan, don't come up with one of those thumb things today, because I do not want to go behind the plate.
Oh, man, I will never forget that blow. It was one of the funniest things I've ever heard up until that point.
Yeah, you laughed about it, too, but I was dead serious.
I know you were. Oh, man.
Not today, Dan.
Not today. Guys are going down all over the place. You hang in there.
It was cold, too, if I remember.
It was cold.
Man. Is there anything worse than catching a foul tip on that
thumb?
Bitter cold?
No, not on a cold day. I tell you, you get it off the toe or something on a cold day, and it's a week or so before you feel that toe again.
There you go. That's turning on it. Yeah, Robbie looks like he's running pretty good, too. That's going to be an easy double for him.
Striding out really well.
And we saw him hit the ball the other way yesterday. Earlier in the game, another base hit. Now he turns on it. That's where you want to be when you're starting the season, right, Alvin?
Yes, definitely.
That's pretty. That's a pretty swing.
Yeah. It's about as pretty as they come right there. That's the way he gets the barrel. Yeah, I mean that's a good gate for Robbie.
It's good.
Yeah, reaching, digging pretty good. So, just the way he gets the barrel through the zone. And again, we talked about D. Gordon's adjustability earlier. Robbie works on that as well, hitting the ball all over the place, taking certain pitches and driving them the other way. Because you're not always on time. Your eyes don't always tell you the truth, and it's nice to have that adjustability in your swing.
It is, and it's something that separates a lot of guys at this level. Not everybody can do that. Everybody works towards it, but not everybody can do it, especially at game time.
Definitely.
Bring him Nelson Cruz. He's rounded out short a couple of times. Probably his last at bat, too. First game back. I was thinking about it, too, and this is one of the things that's really different, thinking about that old ballpark in Detroit. There's barely enough room for maybe, 8 guys to sit on the bench in there. No heaters.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. Well, you look at your schedule and you saw that in April, you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah, we were snuggling.
Hey.
The one thing I remember about Detroit, I think I was telling you, AD, the other day. I don't remember who I was telling, but we had, and Blow, you'll remember this, and BP was always fun there because the way that the second deck kind of overhung the first deck.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, if you were a bopper, you could easily get the ball up on the roof during BP, and it's kind of fun to watch the ball up on the roof roll back down. And I will never forget taking BP in there, and guys were just launching balls all over the place. And you get to group 3. You hit with 3 groups. You got to group 3, and there were hardly any balls left because the guys had hit them either in the stands or on the roof or wherever. And we got in a game that night, and we got shut out and didn't score anything. All we could hear, because the manager's office was right there. The manager's office was right there in the clubhouse. It's such an old facility. And all we could hear behind the closed door was, we ain't taking BP tomorrow, boys. we lost all the balls on the roof, and we got no runs in the game. We are not taking BP anymore in Detroit the rest of the season, he said.
Well, we did the rest of that series.
No, we did not. He stuck true to his word, because we didn't.
Classic Lou, right?
Yeah, Lou just wasn't that. We're not going to take BP anymore, he said.
We have a couple of pitch runners. Gordon Beckham at second base. Now Mike Ford So Cano and Cruz out of the ball game. That was funny. I remember that too. He wasn't happy when it was going on.
No.
Watching the batting practice, because that's what it was. Guys like Jay and those guys trying to hit him out of the stadium.
Yeah, it was just one of those days. It was flying. It was good.
You had to enjoy that ballpark, Alvin.
Yeah, it was reachable, right?
Yeah.
So the way that overhang was, you felt like even if you missed it, it might clip that overhang. You get a little cheap homer out of it, you know. But I'd tell you what, that catch that Junior made.
Oh, that's one of the best catches ever.
Unbelievable.
How high he jumped and this timing on it. And the center fielder, we're talking about right field, but center field, it was deep. What was it out to center field? It was something like 430, 440
it was
out there.
440.
Where the flagpole was, and he ran that ball down and jumped up as high as you could possibly jump. Yeah. Just a great catch. One of many from him, but that was terrific. Yeah. It was great seeing him here last night. We had him up in the booth for a half an inning. It was great to see him. Sounds like he's doing well, as usual.
Life is good. Yeah, and you know, the thing about it is a lot of times they show the end, like the clip will show the end of the catch, which is spectacular. But like you're mentioning, to get back to 440 on any ball hit, that's a long run. So for him to get back there in the first place was a feat in itself.
Keep his eye on the ball, have good timing when he got to the wall. I mean, all those things. It's just it's such an underrated play. When guys rob home runs, it's such an underrated play because the timing and everything that goes into it is just, the athleticism is incredible.
Good at that, Kyle. I know for myself, I was on the other side of the field in New York when Jesse Barfield was robbed by him. And in New York at the time, it was 399 to left center field, and Jesse would hit the ball more the other way, so Junior was shading that way. And when the ball went in the air, which I think was going to be his third home run of the game, and to watch Junior run across the outfield, I'd like, with all the metrics they have now, I'd like to see what his route efficiency was.
Right.
You know, and all those different things that go on now, because you think of Junior and obviously the great talent that he had, but you think of him more in the batter's box, but he could run it down with anybody. And when he went up over the fence then, and that smile on his face, but that was the first time that I had a chance to see him live. And I thought, man, what this guy is going to be is something really special. And the amount of fun he had doing it, too. That's kind of the key to it, right, Alvin?
Yes. You know, he comes back over the wall. The ball comes up out of the glove, and he's grinning from ear to ear. You know, he enjoyed the catch himself, you know.
Eugene Helder, pinch runner at first. So starting to make some changes in the ball game. Ryan Healy at the bat.
That's such a great point, Blow, because he's saved so many games defensively and was not afraid. Now, obviously, you know, we all remember when his wrist broke, and that's just the way he played the outfield. He wasn't scared. He was 100% on defense when he was on defense, and that it was amazing. And he could throw. He had a great arm, and he had all. I mean, he had all the tools, and that's why he's Junior. But you're right. The defense was something spectacular.
Yeah, and, you know, sometimes with a young player, it's you have to teach them to be interested in playing defense and impacting the game at defense. But I tell our young guys all the time over on the minor league side, they'll ask me, you know, what was Ken Griffey Jr. like, especially when he was young? I said, guys, here's the one thing. Junior wanted to be great in the outfield. Yeah. Hitting was fun. You know, he put the work in. Don't get me wrong, but I said he wanted to be great. He wanted to be the best center fielder of all time. And that's the way he went at it, and so that's why you saw all those great catches.
Yeah, looks like the Mariners going to get on the scoreboard. Ryan Healy again, another good at bat. Like a pretty good fastball that was down and away from a hitter's count, but the main thing is get that runner in, and he was able to do it.
Yeah, and you know, just a heads-up play there. Again, something that may not show up on the box score, may not get a headline, but one of our kids, Eugene Helder, you know, following the basic rule of everybody tags up. The guy in third tags, everybody tags. He sees the right fielder come up, throw behind him, and he sneaks into second base. Now he's in scoring position.
Well, you never know how it's going to work, but a base hit, all of a sudden you have the lead because of that play.
Yep.
Already is 1 for 2. Had a triple back in the second inning. Triple out to right field. Alvin, great to have you again.
Good to be here, Blow. Thank you.
Danny, always a pleasure.
Blow, it is always a pleasure, and don't give me the thumb thing tonight, all right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Let's get on the board and say goodnight to Cano, Cruz, and Bartolo Colon. Mariners fans, hey, come together to welcome back baseball Thursday, March 29th with opening night at Safeco Field. All fans in attendance will receive a 2018 magnetic schedule courtesy of Safeco Insurance as the Mariners host the Indians at 7:10. For tickets, visit mariners.com. Well, those guys are gone, but Dave Sims returning to the booth. He joins Mike Blowers up there. Dave, take it away.
You got it, Brad. Thank you very much. Glad the fellas had a good time. Always good to talk some baseball with the boys, right? Old war stories and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and to have 3 Mariner Hall of Famers up here. Well, Edgar down in the dugout by those 2 guys was a lot of fun to talk baseball.
Nice.
And yeah, talk about this team and some stories along the way. It was a lot of fun.
Jason Bradford continues on, swinging a miss by Destin Hood. He's over in the other booth. I got a kick out of watching Big Sexy. My goodness, he was terrific.
Yeah, we were talking about it too, and his fastball at 88 miles an hour, but you know, locate it, change speeds. He looked really good tonight. Really
This
good breaking
pitch
ball.
there by Jason Bradford, first strikeout, his second since coming on. Now, location, location, location.
60, Hunter Alberto.
Nice to see Robbie Cano with that double, hit it hard right center field. RBI by Healy. A sac fly, that was good. Hanser Alberto. So for 2, couple flyouts to center field. Looking forward to getting this thing started for real a week from tonight. Cleveland Indians, defending Central League champions, coming to town. Well stroked left field. And nicely done out there. That's a heck of a catch. Guillermo Heredia running down yet another one.
Well, Scott Service was talking about Guillermo this morning, and he was just saying how well he's played in the outfield. We weren't sure how much he was going to be available at the start of the season, but he looks really good. His timing a little bit better tonight in the batter's box, but he can run it down with the best of them. Very good defensive outfielder. Good to see him healthy.
Quick 2 out, 7th inning. Preston Beck, the first baseman, struck out looking and swinging. You're just joining us. Yep, a whole bunch of unfamiliar names. These Rangers, guys like Andrus, Chirinos, Gallo, Beltre, Chu, Mazzara, Odor, and Rua not here. We'll see plenty of them during the regular season. Here's the 0-1. Bradford trying to make a name for himself from the Mariner Ball Club.
Came over from the Mets. It's his 9th game. Wow. Breaking ball hit hard. Deep right field. Staying fair. Gone up on the berm. 3-1 Texas. Home run for Preston Beck, his 2nd of the spring, his 3rd run batted in. Boy, he jumped on it.
Well, you mentioned it was a breaking ball. We'll see the location of it. They want that down and away, and it ends up middle. And you're right, he did not miss it. Barrel right on a big leg kick. Head staying in the hitting zone, and the line drive in the back of the bullpen.
2 outs, a run in. Here's Pedro Gonzalez fouled back. Gonzalez with a base hit to left and a comeback. Three runs on 6 hits for the Rangers. A run on 4 hits for the Mariners. Missed inside. Cano got a few ABs. Cruz got some ABs. So did Seager. They're out of the game.
I was saying, Dave, that Robbie looks like he's ready to go. Hit the ball the other way last night, did it again today, and then hits the ball in the gap. And I thought watching him run, he looked really good, healthy, ready to go. That's a good sign. First day back in the field for him. Wouldn't be surprised if Nelson ends up on the backfield to get 7 or 8 at bats, try to catch up a little bit. Only had 17 coming into the game.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. Some sound reasoning there, and he won't chafe at the work, that's for sure. 2 outs, a run in. 7th inning. Rangers got 2 in the first. RBIs by Drew Robinson and Juan Centeno. Bartolo Colon, for just tuning in, 5 1/3, 3-hit shutout ball. A walk, 2 strikeouts, faced 20 batters. Never know, he's almost 45. It was something else.
Dave, I played against him.
Yeah, right? It's crazy. Career 2 for 6 against him.
Wow.
Not a surprise that Ichiro has the most at bats against Cologne, given that Cologne spent 17 years in the American League. He's in his 21st year in the bigs.
Wow.
Right? 3-2 pitch. Got him. Inning over. That'll do it for the Rangers. Home run by Preston Beck makes it 3-1. Bottom third of the order coming up for the Mariners.
At the Lexus
Thanks to watch a game in Peoria. Rangers lead at 3-1, moving to the bottom of the 7th inning. Welcome back in studio. Brad Adam along with Ryan Rowland-Smith. And I got to be honest, this is kind of a thrill for me. I've always wanted to call a game, spring training, real game, but it doesn't matter, with this guy.
With me,
and they're going to let us call the bottom of the 7th inning.
Sounds
and
good.
Keep it here in studio. So, oh boy, I don't even know where to start with you.
We'll get serious. Come on.
Oh, you're right. Let's get serious.
We've got a week to go.
Week to go, yes, as we play in Peoria with the Mariners and Rangers. So a week to go. Let's talk about, we'll mention different position groups. We'll start with the bullpen. Of course, the big news with David Phelps going down out for the year. So a spot opens there. Who kind of slides in? Who needs to kind of step up? How do you see the bullpen taking shape before next week?
Yeah, I think that last spot goes to, the most deserves. The guys who have put together a good camp. That bullpen was pretty rock solid. But again, David Phelps, unfortunately going down. But to me, this is the best place for depth on this roster is the bullpen. They've got so many good pieces and some guys can fill in. Casey Lawrence is having a really good spring. Ryan Cook is making a comeback. We saw him with the Oakland A's. He's looked pretty good lately, but it's one of those questions, who fills in, for that spot as we see.
It's Taylor Motter going opposite field, gone. Look at that Motter pop for our inning here, Ryan. I like that. Makes it 3-2 now.
I tried to lay out, Brad, so he could give you a big home run call. Where was it?
I tried to have one a couple years ago. Did some radio with Aaron Goldsmith, Rick Riz. Didn't really have one. And sure enough, I think it was Cruz hit the home run. Didn't have one. And
the one guy
I guess I don't have one now. And Motter does it. Do you have one?
And going the other way, too, and this is something we talked about earlier with Taylor Motter, using the whole field. The one black hole he had and pitchers made him pay for it was down in a way. He was so pool happy last year, and it's good to see a guy like Taylor Motter. You're talking about a guy trying to win a job, able to go the other way.
In that battle with Romine for that utility infielder, outfielder guy. Of course, the Mariners might be able to go with an extra body, too, if they only start the season with 4 starters. But back to the pen, even without Phelps, still enough arms out there, still a strength going forward for the Mariners?
Definitely, and it's an opportunity for young guys to step up and fill that void. One guy, Dan Altavilla, who has looked really good in spring training. We know about the stuff, how electric that fastball, that upper 90s fastball can be. It's just that consistency with the slider. When he can throw that pitch for a strike and then throw that 0-2 expand the zone slider, he is in really good shape. So we've seen that this spring training. He has a different mound presence, which is massive. We could see him sort of going in and out of that last year where he'd lose confidence. He looks really good. So it's a good chance for a guy like Dan Altavilla to step up and fill that void from David Phelps.
Hey, explain to us what happens to the starters now, a week to go. We mentioned Marco Gonzalez going today. It was 84 pitches. His next start before the season begins, he'll ramp that down a little bit, a 40-50 range. What did the starters do in their last full start and then their last start where they kind of taper off a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, and some guys walk in and say, hey, look, I need to have a good amount of pitches here because I'm could be still working on something or some sort of sequence. But a guy like Marco Gonzalez, we saw tonight, he got 80+ pitches, which is really important for him. And then next time out, he'll probably taper it back down, probably 2-3 innings. We want to get everyone to the finish line healthy. I'm laying out, go for it.
Is there another one? Nice. Oh, off the wall. He'll slide in second base with a double. So the Mariners go home run and double here off Jesse Chavez. Late of the Oakland A's here, and there's one out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Mariners 3-2. Maybe we're good luck charms for these guys.
Exactly. We should do this more often.
Yes.
Laying out. Kirk Neuenhouse. Matter of fact, Kirk Neuenhouse, ex-Met, was living in the Seattle area a couple off seasons ago. I remember he was emailing me asking me suggestions. I think his girlfriend, maybe now wife, I haven't spoken to him in spring training.
Suggestions on where to go out or where to live?
Where to live, actually.
And what did you pass along to
I had no idea. I said, don't ask me. I don't
East side, west side?
Well, anywhere away from Brad Adam is good. Yeah.
Smart. Hey, they're a guy I think that most fans are going to be excited to see play again as Romine steps into the dish. And that, of course, is Ichiro.
Yeah.
Who probably is going to start in left field opening day. And you were a guy, when you played, you got to know Ichiro a little bit and kind of appreciated kind of what he did and how he did things.
Yeah.
Are you excited to see him?
I am excited. I think everyone has to be excited to see him step up to the plate in 2018. The things he did as a Seattle Mariner from when he came over and the impact he made. And he changed the culture. In 2001, obviously, the 116 wins, but just the things and playing with him, being in the same locker room, there wasn't an appreciation for me. It was a little bit more of a fascination, the way he went about his business, his routine. Brad, I'm telling you, we stretched at 420. At 4:18 on the dot, as soon as he saw that stadium clock switch to 4:18, he was walking out of the dugout. His routine never changed day to day. It was amazing. But he was there, first guy to the field, working hard, doing his whole routine. He was literally the last guy to leave.
And seeing him a couple of days ago in Peoria, first thing he said, big smile on his face, and said, "I'm so happy back in Seattle." And I think that he appreciates not only playing again here in Seattle, but the role he's going to have as well.
Yeah, and his role has definitely changed. And, I got a chance to run into him the first day I got there. He got there.
Did he recognize you?
Of course, come on. Well, there was all this media there. I'm like, man, this is a great, nice, everyone's here to see me. And then, Ichiro's here. Okay. A lot of it was Japanese media. I don't think they're there to see me. But no, we got a chance to talk, and you could tell just from day one he has taken on that leadership role, which is so good, because I tell you what, if you're a young player, if you're in your early 20s and you want to have someone to look up to when it comes to routine and preparation, there is no one better.
And a guy like D. Gordon, thrilled that he's back. Had him in Miami, learned a lot from him, and said Ichiro is the best. And it's really good to hear, because I don't think Ichiro, the first time around, maybe wasn't appreciated for what he did and kind of how he did it.
Yeah, that's right. He was, early
to himself a lot.
To himself, yeah, absolutely. He was that guy. He was just, he kept to himself, and he had his process. But no one outworked him. Put it that way. But he did have his own process, that's for sure. But as he's gotten on, and it's interesting hearing guys like even Robinson Cano, he played with him with the Yankees, but D. Gordon, hearing stories from a different part of Ichiro's career later on where he did take that leadership role. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully he can tear it up too that first month especially.
Gordon Beckham steps in. You see what he's done this spring, 3 of 17 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Excuse me, that was last season.
That was last season.
I still remember Ichiro's last at-bat, and it was fitting. Miami ambushes the first pitch fastball, barely gets it out of the yard, and we're thinking, that's his last at-bat safe going. It was a home run as Beckham goes over center fielder's head. New and Ice crosses the plate, ties the game now at 3. The hits just keep coming, Ryan.
They do, and it's coming from guys who are still battling for that spot. Gordon Beckham is still battling for that against Taylor Motter and Romine for that. If you want to call it that utility role, but that last spot on the bench, it's going to be interesting opening day if they go 4 starters as opposed to 5. That could open up an extra position player, but good-looking swing, too. We saw the 176, only 11 games last year, but, man, this is a guy, when he was with the Chicago White Sox, he was like a mini Michael Young, if you remember Michael Young from the Texas Rangers. Man, this guy can play, and so it'd be good to see him get an opportunity as well.
A guy who said those 11 games in Seattle was with Tacoma all last year. A guy, an established major leaguer, a veteran guy, willing to play in the minors. That says a lot about him.
Yeah, and that can be tough. Look, and it's interesting. This part of spring training is another guy competing as well, Mike Ford. But this is that interesting part of spring training. I don't think fans out there really understand when you get called into that office. It's either you're going to make the team, they're going to let you know that. That last day of spring or, early on around this time, or you're getting sent back to AAA. And I'm telling you, it is a huge contrast when you've been around major leaguers for a month and a half and you're hoping to stay on with this team, and there's a lot of the warm and fuzzies, opening days coming up, you're hearing all about it, everyone's getting ready. And then you go in that office and you're like, man, when I leave this office, hopefully I'm still on this 25-man roster. And for a lot of guys, you're not. And you really have to mentally battle that fact that you're going down to AAA, where you can be tearing it up and no one's, sometimes it feels like no one's paying attention, but someone's always watching and you have to stay with it. There's going to be an opening at some point.
So in that last week, do you spend more time in the clubhouse, being seen, enjoying it, or do you try to be invisible?
Well, it depends. When you're a guy trying to make a team, you're like hiding in the corner.
Eating your meals in the corner by yourself and just being... first one in, first one out.
The biggest anticlimax I had from making my first opening day roster, 2008, was John McLaren was the manager. Myself and Eric O'Flaherty. We're in Las Vegas doing an exhibition game. We're down to the last day of spring training. We still don't know if we've made the team or not. I'm like, can someone come and just tap me on the shoulder, good or bad? I'm ready. You know, I'm psychologically, I'm ready for it. And I walked past McLaren in the hallway. I'm trying to avoid him all day, mind you. And he just, before I even said anything, I said, hey, John, and he cut me off and said, yeah, you made the team, you're good. I'm like, really, that's it? That's all I got?
That's all you got, kind of anticlimactic. But the Mariners score twice here. Nice working with you, Ryan. We move to the top of the 8th. We'll go back to Dave and Mike in Peoria.
Around the desert here in Arizona. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. And away we go at a high rate of speed. Good stuff. Here in the desert, cloudy day today. Temperature got up into the 80s for the first time in a while. Here's Juan Nicasio. It's interesting. Brad and Ryan were talking about waiting to get final word. Did you make the team or not? Well, D-Day, it's going to be this weekend. Yeah. Looks like in the utility role, based on what Scott Service told us earlier. In that utility role, you're talking about Beckham, Motter, and Romine, and all three guys have been outstanding. Another hit, an RBI double here by Beckham this evening. Motter with a home run. They've all contributed nicely. A base hit by Romine back in the third.
Well, that's going to be a big game on Saturday. He was talking about after the game on Saturday, they probably would get things set. So the guys have done everything that you possibly can. I've been in that position before, Dave, and you just go in and you just try to do the best that you can. And these guys have really had outstanding spring, but unfortunately you become a numbers game. And talked about it earlier. Scott will just have to decide what he wants his team to look like as far as his bench goes. And it'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out.
You got Motter who can play outfield and infield. Beckham is second, third, and he can play anywhere in the infield. And Romine can play everywhere. Right. So that's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, sometimes just you look at what side of the plate the guys hit from. Sometimes you look at how well they run. How are they as defenders? Because the one thing you want to do is when you put those guys in, you just don't want them to hurt the ball club.
Motter's got the stolen bases.
He's a great athlete. There's no question about it. And by the way, for him, that home run he just hit, that was outstanding because that is something that he has wanted to work on. I talked to him earlier. He felt that last year became one-dimensional. You and I talked about it second half of the season, Dave. And he wanted to work on that. And it shows with the spring that he's had. And to be able to drive the ball to right center like that is something that we didn't see last year. His power was to left field. So that's a nice adjustment. A lot of work went into it. So good for him. And it's not easy to go out there this time either. You understand what's at stake, and every game means something. There's a lot of pressure on them also. So they continue to play well, which is what you want to see.
And these guys, as far as they're concerned, this is Game 7 World Series.
And that's exactly right.
Fly ball right field. Nieuwenhuis coming in. 2 away. A lot of good things being said about Juan Nicasio. He wants to work. The other day we had the bullpen coach tell us he took all the boys out for steak dinner, like first, second day down there.
Get to know each other.
So that was good. And he and Edwin Diaz are attached at the hip. I was down in the field watching practice today, and almost like every day when they exit their walk, they're walking in, they're walking out together.
And he's had a great spring, and Scott Service said something about that today, and he said that's a good thing for Edwin Diaz. So he likes everything about Nicasio, and why wouldn't you? He'll probably close when Diaz isn't available. He's definitely going to pitch late in games.
That's a tremendous, that's a chance to be a tremendous 1-2 punch. And 2 guys at the back end. And again, that bullpen is set up nicely. Tremendous depth even before David Phelps got hurt. Here's fly ball hanging up. It's going to be Romine out there. Make that Bo Emerald, big part. Bo Emerald with the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Nicasio. Home 8th coming up. 3-3 game. Lots of that to do down here. Get some climbing in as well. Make sure that telephone is well batteried up. Inquisitive minds want to know, want to find out. Walking around in the natural wonders of Arizona. Here's Eugene Helder. Helder came in as a pinch runner in the 6th. Jesse Chavez remains in the game on the mound for the Rangers. 0-2 pitch.
Edwin Diaz getting loose in the pen for the Mariners.
Swing and a miss. 1 away. Jesse Chavez, that'll be strikeout number 3. Here's Daniel Vogelbach. A home run over at Tempe the other night against the Angels.
Didn't see it, but I heard there was nothing cheap about it.
Ooh, got it all. Middle in, about belt high. Swung the bat really well. 391. He's 18 for 48. 6 doubles, 5 homers, 11 runs batted in.
I thought it was interesting. The question was asked with Healy back and healthy, and he's also swinging the bat well and is going to play every day. There's still a chance for Vogelbach with his spring of him making the ball club. In other words, keeping both of them. And Scott didn't rule it out.
Part of the decision making to be made this weekend, along with the utility guys that we talked about. 2 away. Andrew Applin get a chance to swing it here.
The fielder, number 72, Andrew Applin.
Quick 2 outs here in the 8th for the Mariners. We've seen plenty of Jesse Chavez over the years, 34 years old. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Kansas City, Toronto, Oakland, Toronto, Dodgers, and the Angels.
He's pitched out of the bullpen, been a starter, back to the bullpen, starting again.
It's going to get through the hole, base hit. Andrew Applin with his 2nd hit of the spring.
Zach Vinci going to pinch hit for Taylor Motter. Off-speed pitch. Pitch down in the zone, in the middle of the plate, but not a bad pitch. Finds a hole in the right side of the infield.
Zach Vinci hitting at 200 on the spring, 6 for 30. No homers and an RBI, 1 RBI. Go short way, get the 4th inning over. We go to the 9th. Score tied at 3.
We all made resolutions.
Leaving the berm, you can't when it's tied at 3 going to the 9th inning in Peoria. Well, baseball's back. We know that. And Root Sports is taking you to Peoria for Mariners spring training coverage. Tune in Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific to catch the Mariners taking on the Cubs in Cactus League action. Felix on the mound in that one. Root Sports, your home for Mariners baseball all season long. Peoria, it's been a long spring training. I know Edwin Diaz and the guys ready for the season to start, and I want to say a happy birthday to Mr. Diaz. 24 years old today, Dave and Mike.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Edwin Diaz, 0-1, a 2.57 ERA in 7 games, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, both earned, giving up 1 home run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. First hitter's Tommy Joseph. He's a Philly until 3 days ago.
And a pretty good fastball, 97 miles an hour on that first fastball.
Zach Vinci takes over at shortstop for the Mariners. Electric stuff. I heard so many people use that term the last 2 years. I jumped all over it. And this guy, he's something else, man.
He really is, and that's the reason why. Slider at 88, 90 miles an hour to go with the good fastball.
And how does that kind of gas come out of a body like that?
Speed, a lot of arm speed. You know, it's one of the things that's interesting, and talked a little bit about it last year, but you think about Diaz, Altavilla, both of them in Double-A as starters, and they both will hit 97, 98 miles an hour, but they do it a little bit different. Dan is more power, just powers it through the zone, and this right here is just a lot of speed. Another good fastball right there at 98 miles an hour.
Beautifully placed.
And here you go. Target outer half. They rarely set on the corners for Ed when they don't need to with that type of stuff. Just throw strikes, work ahead of hitters, and he'll put them away.
One out here, top 9 in a 3-3 game. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors in the Mariners. 3-6-0 for Texas. That'll get your attention at 98.
Just sounds like he's throwing hard.
If you tell me 108, I'm buying.
You hear that catcher's mitt.
I think he wants him off the plate.
Mike Margima doing the catching tonight. Looks like he has a fairly new catcher's glove. It'll be broken in by the time Edwin's done with it.
It might have happened during the warm-ups.
Yeah.
He got that one.
Yep.
He got it. It's gone.
Behind in the count, 2-0. Throws him a fastball. 96 miles an hour, and he cheated. Hit the barrel start a little bit earlier, knowing he's going to get the heater. Took care of it.
Old sidewinding coach. Did straight my boys could put wood on it.
Well, that certainly happened right here. Again, 2-0 count, fastball, belt high, middle of the plate. He took care of it.
Juan Centeno home run, his third. 4-3 Rangers, 1 out here in the 9th. Think back to many of the home runs he gave up was classic situation. Got behind. They know he throws 100, and like you said, cheat.
And he's typically going to try, because he's behind, he's going to try to throw it down the middle and just throw it by you. But as you know, at this level, these guys can hit a fastball, especially if they know it's going to be thrown, and location just look in the middle of the plate, and that's going to happen on that one.
2-0 count, 1 out, 9th inning. Behind 3-0 to Destin Hood, who struck out looking, fly to right, struck out looking. Diaz gave up 10 home runs last year in 66 innings, appeared in 66 games, 34 saves. Two. Nobody on here in the 9th. Going to lose about 25 degrees when we get home. I was checking out the weather forecast today, looking ahead. Your 10-day Doppler forecast. As Diaz, the way we can truck this up there. Mariners baseball from spring training is always live with MLB at Bat. The app's going to keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB at Bat now. It's your #1 Mariners app. Michael De Leon Runner goes. Throw by Marjima. Safe. Vincey saying he got him up high.
That was a strong throw by Mike Marjima. Pretty decent jump. Vincey taking over at shortstop. He says he ended up tagging, and it looks like he did right there on the elbow. He missed the call.
That'd have been a quick review.
I would agree with that. He missed it.
Mon de Jesus at second base. Stone base. Slow roller. Vincey's going to take care of it. 2 away. Under the third.
First baseman, number 80, Preston Beck.
Preston Beck. Strikeout looking, swinging, and a home run on a 1-1 pitch back in the 7th. As against Jason Bradford. Ball 1. One-0 from Diaz. A little erratic tonight. Looked good on that first batter, then got behind Centeno. A walk, and now 2-0 here.
There's another example of it. You can see just how aggressive a swing he was taking 2-0. I know they're going to get the fastball. They need to catch up to it. Don't cheat.
When you say cheat, that means start that bat just
Early.
a tad early.
Yep.
Get that momentum going.
Pretty good breaking ball right there.
Two 2 pitch. Inside, well off the plate. Look forward to seeing you next week at this time. Safeco Field opening night against Cleveland. Fly ball center field backing up. Oh, Emerald. He's there, and here we go. Bottom 9. Mariners down a run. It's 4-3 Texas. Nothing like the beautiful vistas with a little time-lapse photography added in here in Arizona. We'll be breaking camp in just a matter of days. Get back to Seattle Tuesday night. We'll work out on Wednesday and tee it up for real. March 29th against the Cleveland Indians. Safeco Field in Seattle. Looking forward to it. Hope to see you there as we get this 2018 campaign underway.
Great to have the opener at home this year.
Oh, man. Forgot what it was like, Mike.
And the guys will have a couple of days off, too. So, it's all pluses, I think.
Margin of grounds out, one away.
It's situated at home before they head out on the road.
It would be the home opening opponent in San Francisco and Minnesota. Week number 2 of the season. Afternoon game at Minnesota, day off Friday. And day game Saturday, Sunday, then go to Kansas City. Kirk Neuenhuis, a double to right center last time. First time up. Kirk's been around. Base hit was his 8th, his first double. 8 for 24 this spring. Be on the air Saturday, back here on TV Saturday, 6:30 with the pregame, 6:40 first pitch. Felix goes against the Chicago Cubs. And a full house expected on a Saturday. Be a whole bunch of Mariner fans down here, and the Cub fans, they travel like crazy. Then a Sunday game on radio. Radio only on Sunday. This one hit a long way by Neuenhuis. We got a tied ball game. 4-4. Neuenhuis going the other way. Ties the score at 4-4.
Having a good night.
Oh, making a late run here. And on a 2-2 pitch.
Well, take a look at it. Pitch, yep. Off-speed pitch. Bell tie, middle of the plate. Let the ball travel a little bit. Drop the barrel on it. That'll be a 385 sign.
Good power going the other way. Bo Amaral, the hitter. That will get through the hold. Winning runs aboard with 1 out.
Got some speed on the bases.
Second baseman, number 1, Gordon Beckham.
Good for Bo Amaral. His first hit of the spring. That didn't feel great.
And what a spring Gordon Beckham is having. Continues to put the barrel on the ball. Shading him towards right.
RBI double last time for Beckham. 16 hits this spring. 5 doubles. One out. Winning run at first base. 2-0 count to Beckham. Not too big a lead by Amaral at first, 2-1. Chavez chases him back. Amaral takes off. Pitch swung on and fouled off. 4-4 game, 10 hits for the Mariners. Two balls, two strikes. Sharply hit at turn 2. Oh, and he dropped it at first. Mariners still alive.
Hits it hard. Looked like it was going to be a routine double play. No problem with the shortstop or the second baseman. I guess it was in the dirt. Looked like the first baseman set his feet a little bit early.
There's Mike Ford. Two outs. Runner at first, 4-4 game, bottom 9. Jesse Chavez, the pitcher, came on in the 7th inning. Fastball, ball 1. To Ford. It's breaking ball for strike number 1. Two outs, Chavez. There's a fastball for a strike. Four-year-old Jesse Chavez, 1-2 pitch. Hear the fans in the ballpark. Pretty keen reaction. Like, whoa, that was close. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Back him back safely. Two and 2. Solidly stroked. He hit that well. Beckham's flying. He may score. I think he is going to score. He's definitely going to score. He's getting a big wave on. Mike Ford with a game-winning double here in the 9th. Mariners win it 5-4. Worked the count to 2 and 2 and smoked it.
Yeah, nice victory to come from behind the entire game until right there. Big hit by Mike Ford. How about the game today? Marco Gonzalez gets 5 innings. Struggled a little bit early, but settled down and really pitched well late. 84 pitches for him overall. Kirk Neuenhuis, couple of hits and a home run. And then Mike Ford, the game-winning base hit out to right center field. Beckham also having a great spring, is able to score all the way from first. He's got service. I like the way the kids ended up playing here late in the ball game.
Very nice job. 2 runs on 3 hits and a man left in the 9th to win it. And we walk out of here watching the Mariners win their 13th game against 14 losses. The Rangers go to 7 and 19. We'll catch you on TV Saturday. Felix against the Cubs. That's going to be a beauty. Thanks for joining us here on Root Sports, everybody. For Mike Blowers and the entire Root Sports team, I'm Dave Sims. So long from Peoria, Arizona.